Brothers and sisters, friends and family, huge love to you guys. Big loves to all of y'all. I hope you guys are blessed. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope this week is well. I hope you guys are absorbed into the greatest things that has ever been given to us, which is the laws of our Creator. The laws of our Creator exist in the first 5 books of Scriptures. But if you ask any person in religion will tell you there's no value to any of these. But there's a tremendous amount of value because in these laws, statutes, and commandments, we learn a tremendous thing about life, how we should conduct ourselves, how we should operate, the rules and regulations for a society that should exist under these rules and regulations, but they don't. And because they don't, we end up with a tremendous amount of issues in our societies and in our world because we have not taught our kids the ways of our Creator. We have not taught our families the way of our Creator. We have not taught ourselves the ways of our Creator. And when we don't teach ourselves the ways of our Creator, then we limit ourselves with the way forward. We are completely limiting our soul and we're hurting ourselves. And I am very, very excited to be a part of Yah Scriptures Prison Ministry. And we are a kind of an accidental ministry because we came to be because we were fighting the forces of evil who were supposedly ministering to all our brothers and sisters in chains for over a decade. But what these people were doing, and these people are the Hallelujah Scriptures, is these people had a ginormous grifting front. They have bank accounts full of $500,000 and millions and millions and millions of dollars of books. And there were no orphans, there were no widows, there were no lepers, and there were no prisons. And there were no mass shipping their scriptures into these prisons. And so at Yah Scriptures, what we did is we went and we found the very best of these translations and put them together. And then we spent a tremendous amount of time putting together the greatest English translation of scriptures that you guys will ever find. The description is at the bottom. Everything with Yah Scriptures is completely free. We give all of our apps away. The Google app is free. The PDFs are free. The eSword modules are all free. Everything we have is completely free. And what we're able to do is we're able to get one full scriptures into these prisons for every scriptures that you guys out in the outside are able to purchase. And so with that, that has given us a tremendous opportunity to be able to get brothers and sisters in chains these scriptures. And I want to take us over to a couple of incredible stories that I thought were incredible. I've had them sitting around for a while. And when I find these stories that are incredible, I like to bring them to all of us and to all of the assembly. Because there is a tremendous amount of fruit that is happening in death row. There's a tremendous amount of fruit that is happening in the prison systems. On our very first Bible orders that we ever got, we have proven our intent by sending into prisons and death row over $7,000 worth of scriptures already. That is what, right out of the gate, this is what we are, and this is our ministry. And these are the people that we have met. Now, the first story I want to take us to is a brother. His name is Felix Roca. And I've talked to him before. I've talked to you guys about him before. I've asked for prayers for Felix, and I still ask for prayers from Felix. But these are some interesting stories that we got. And I wanted to start in right here. Because there's great stories in all of this stuff. And I don't know if they're great, but they're stories nonetheless. Let's just read, and we'll decipher as we read. And again, Felix, English, he never learned English. He didn't even know English when he was arrested. And so he only learned English through the legal system. And he's been on death row for a couple of decades. He's been in there for a very long time. So this is what he's responding to me, because I had asked him about another brother that I talked to a lot, Charles Mamu, and also Ripowski. Now, I've talked about Ripowski, but we're going to do an entire section on Britt Ripowski, because Britt is mentally unwell. Britt can't even respond to emails properly without writing what looks like cipher code. And every brother that I've talked to in the Texas prison death row knows Britt isn't well. And the story with Britt is he used to be well. He used to be a strapping dude who was always positive. And for decades, some of the guards were torturing him. Like they would water him down, they would mess with him, and eventually the dude just snapped. And he doesn't even correspond to people. He's just there. And so that was the question I had with Ripowski. So this is what Felix says. Yes, I know the names you mentioned on your letter. I know Charles Mamu for many years and Ripowski. And yes, it's true that Ripowski is not all there. Doing time in a cell here is not easy, especially when the sentence of death is weighing so much on our minds. Also, don't forget, all this with the time, this will be affecting our minds some many ways. Some are strong, some not. But whatever is the reason, soon we know that we are far away to be a normal person. Welcome to the reality of this life. On the years I've been in here, I've been seeing how people have been changed. How people who been forget from their own families, been many years in here, forget about everyone you know is bad. So in the broken English, we can decipher that everybody loses their family in this. And this is one of these reasons that if any one of you guys are willing to be a pen pal, to be a mentor, to give some love, to share some of the love of the kingdom, I have the entire setup rolling, guys. I have a way that you guys can do this. It doesn't take a lot of time, but I have brothers who are unfound brothers who we can reach out to, or sisters. And guys, there is a huge need for kingdom workers. Guys, I am booked up. I am backed up with all the amount of people that I can write. My week is completely booked, days and days of writing and typing. And so we're looking for others who are able to grab the new brothers. I want to make it through all of the Texas prison system. I want to continue on. I want to make it through the other death row systems. And I know there's enough people out there who would be willing to do this. Guys, the system is set up. Please email me at jboss008@gmail.com. But guys, this is something you have to be 100% dedicated to. This is something that, don't do this on a whim. Please pray about this, and please seek our Creator and ask Him if this is right. Is this something you will continue on? Is this something you are healthy enough spiritually to deal with? Because you get a lot of issues. Now, continuing on, it's way too personal. I'm trying to think that this world is only here in prison, and outside, whatever, that does not exist. Sometimes that make trying to live the best I can in this place. I think what he's saying is that he pretends that the outside reality it just doesn't really exist. Now, this is the part of the story that I want you guys to hear, because in talking to all these brothers on death row, this was a huge event. This guy that died, his name was Garcia White, and he died about, I think now 3 weeks ago. They killed him in Texas. Well, he had been with these guys for decades. And so let's see what they say. He goes, on October 1st this month, they executed some prisoner in here. Let me tell you, this is the man, White Garcia. And in prison, you know everybody as your last name, right? Felix is known in prison as Roca. That's all he's ever known. Nobody ever says your first name. You have a prison number and your last name. And so when he says, White Garcia, he means Garcia White. Many of us know him for many years. When is his last day? 7 a.m. So he's talking on October 1st, 7 a.m. That was his last day to be alive. He have to be ready to go to his last visit. If he has family or friends. So before that, if he chose, he can walk by past our cells and say goodbye to us. Well, he chose to do that. And guys, this is this thing that these guys have all been neighbors off and on for decades as these cells are moved around, as people are moved around. These are the only family that these guys know, or other people in solitary confinement, which is why a lot of this is really gut-wrenching. So he chose to do that, right? So Garcia White is coming down the death row, and before they go and he has his final thing, they will let him walk down the tiers and say goodbye to all of these people who they've known forever. I just thought this is hard stuff, okay? So he chose to do that, right? And everyone say hello to him for the last time. It was about 12 p.m. His visit is over, and some of us have the chance to see him again from our window. We make a lot of noise in the window, and he sees us and makes sing, we in his head. And it's basically what he's talking about is after he had gone through the tears and they had all said goodbye, there's a few of them that are able to see the van, that are able to see him being walked to the final van before they take the little van ride to another building where they kill him. And so the whole prison erupts. People are yelling and singing and giving this guy support. And it's the guy's final moments, right? This is the kind of crazy courage that some of this has. And guys, I don't believe all of these guys on death row should be on death row. I've talked to a tremendous amount of them. I've reviewed their cases. There is a tremendous amount of these people that they've been convicted, and there's not a single DNA, there's not a single witness, there's nothing. But basically because they're black, or a dark colored skin, they were railroaded in, and now they're completely doomed. So let's continue on what he's talking about right here. Right? So they're making noise from the windows, right? And in a few minutes, he will be going to be put in a car and take to the place where he is going to be executed. All executions are at 6 o'clock. And at 6, he already on the bed, 6 o'clock p.m., right? 6:30 p.m. if he's dead. Well, it's never easy to say goodbye to a friend that I know for many years. Really, most of the time, you know more of this person's more than our families. And that's the crazy thing. So I wrote him back, and the curious person in me asked him all sorts of different questions on this. And so this was his response. And what I'm doing for Felix is I don't do it for every prisoner, but we're setting it up so that he can call and he can talk to my kids in Spanish. He can talk to me. He doesn't have a single family. He doesn't have anybody that ever talks to him. So I told him, I said, we're going to adopt you as our family, and we're going to talk to you, right? We're going to make this happen. So this information is about that. He tells me, he's like, I saw your date of birth. You're a really young man. I thought you were much old. I was surprised you were young. The photo you sent me with you and your family, I saw you there, and I was thinking, you look like 60 years old. Haha, smiles. I guess it's the beard that makes you look that way. And it does. Everybody looks. My wife is 2 years younger than me, and everybody's like, oh, is that your daughter? And then I'm like, that's my wife, and they all look at me like I'm some creepy old man. So here we are. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk right here. This is where we were talking again about Garcia White. Because I asked him, I said, hey, when they're taking this last stroll down this hall, are people crying? What do you say? What do you say in moments like these? And these guys have seen hundreds of people executed over their time in there. Hundreds. And so this is what he says. And yes, Big White, and that was his nickname, Big White Garcia. That's what everybody called him. And every brother I talked to said that Big White was just a giant, beautiful bear. Like, this guy had more love for everybody. This guy was the guy that would somehow get his tray over to other sales when other people were hungry. This guy was loved by this entire place. And so this is continuing on, and he goes, and yes, Big White was a really good person to all us in prison. And I don't think people cry, but I think there's a lot of emotions, like get mad and all that when a friend fixed to be executed. It's not easy to say goodbye to a friend that we've been known for more than half of our lives, and now that he's going to be executed. Some choose to came and say his last goodbye. Some choose not to come, right? Some choose to come, some chose not to. But when they come, they come into the pod and say, all right, everybody, it's time to go. And after that, everybody say, all right, White. Some say their name. Some say, I keep you on my prayers. I think it's prayers. But it's a lot of noise when we say goodbye by this way, because everybody call their name almost at the same time. What can you do when you have a little time and it's the last time to say goodbye to your friends? I wonder if they really hear us. But some of us, we know us for a long time, and when we say their name, they answer with our name. This time I say, all right, Big White. He answered, all right, Roca. We are behind our cells, but we know our voices, and we know what cells we live. Well, it's how life is here, or what life is left of us. Well, my friend, I'll leave you alone for now and say hello to your family and take care of all. And so, guys, this is one of these things that as I'm reading this, man, I was choking up to relive these kind of emotions that these guys live on a day-to-day basis. This is what there's no more executions this year, but they lived through a couple executions this year. I think they had 4. And so this is hard stuff. Now, the other thing is I wanted to I want to take you over to another brother. And this is one of this is one of the greatest success stories I think I have ever had, because this brother was he wasn't a talker, right? This guy didn't talk at all when I first encountered him. And in fact, this is the guy that sat in jail for 6 years and never said a word. He got railroaded into death row because he was so ticked off. He never said a word to his prosecutor, to his attorney. He just let it all roll. But this dude is now on his knees praying. This guy is seeking our Creator. He's reading through Yah Scriptures fervently and loving it and being a part of it. And he's like, you know what? I've awoken. I know what it is. And this guy's like, it took all of this to get Yah to open my eyes. And so as we sit and correspond with this guy was a soldier of the streets. I mean, this guy was super, super legit when it comes to large term crime. And these are the people that, when you're willing to fish for men, that our Creator will bring back. And this is one of these success stories that, had we not been there, had we not shipped this cat a scriptures, had we not been sitting here corresponding, this dude would have sat there forever and there would have been no hope. He would have never figured it out. But he was right on the edge. And what we told him about commandments, about seeking them and finding them, it clicked. And this guy is a soldier now for the kingdom. But this particular story is something that I think that all of us can put to our lives and understand, because this story could be all of us, right? This is the hand of our Creator that you're going to hear some supernatural stuff. Okay, this is what he says. Sitting here thinking back on life. Life was good to me. Yahuwah had a hand on me for a long time. A guy in my city goes by Dr. Soul. Some call him crazy because he wears silverware for jewelry. I was one of those who had judged him not knowing him. In 97, a cousin and I was walking away from the store. He stopped us to say to me, the guys you're around don't mean you any good. Leave them alone. I say, man, you're crazy. And I walk off. And he repeated what he said. And this time he said, God told me to tell you this. He mentioned something that happened 2 weeks prior. I know ain't no way he could have known about this. I turn around. What did you just say? Now, this guy's a hardcore thug. This dude didn't just go around, he didn't turn around saying it just like that, right? He's like, what did you say? And then he said, who told you that? He said, God told me to stop you and tell you that them guys are no good and don't go to Texas. You'll go to prison. I just looked at him and he's telling me things that I've never mentioned to anyone, not even to my brothers, but he knew. I say you crazy, he say. I say you crazy, he say, because I wear my spoons on my fingers. My dad, and so this is this old man. This guy is literally wearing silverware as decor on his body. Here's the story. My dad died and left 200 acres of land. He worked hard to buy. This is from Dr. Soul. My mom didn't tell us she wasn't paying taxes, and they come and take our land. I asked could they give me a ride to town so I can pay the taxes, but they wouldn't. So I filled a sheet with all our silverware and all I could carry and walked to town. I had just become homeless. I slept on the street and people stole things from me while I slept, and I pawned some of the things I have, things to make money to eat. These spoons, forks, and butter knives on my fingers are real silver that has our family name initial on them. This is all I have left of my family fortune, so I wear them to keep people from stealing them. I'm not crazy. I'm hurt how they stole my land to use it for farming. He looked at me, he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, leave them guys alone and never go to Texas. You go to prison, and walks off. 2 years later, my cousin stole from me and plotted to kill me in 2014. I moved to Texas 2024. I get sent to prison. Yahuwah spoke to me through that guy, and I didn't listen. I saw Dr. Soul one time after that talk. He was moving to Missouri and said, remember what I told you. So there you go, guys. There's the hand of our Creator that exists and works in this world, and another classic example of this crazy old man that couldn't have known anything that was going on gave this cat a message. which always reminds me of the commandment that we have that says, obey the messengers Yahuwah sends before us. Because it's one of these commands that you just don't know why. But at some point, there's going to be some supernatural events, and we're going to need some supernatural protection. And when the supernatural protection comes and tells us to move to the left, move to the right, we better do it, right? The hand of our Creator loves those who are loyal to Him. Guys, if you can support Yah Scriptures, please support us. We're doing everything we can to love these brothers. We're doing everything possible that we can to make a wave in this kingdom. And if you guys can help with pen pals or anything of the sort, please get a hold of me. There's always a position open. There's always something to do. There's always something for the people of Yah. So with that, guys, much love to y'all. Have a wonderful day. I'm out.